can't sleep, trapped in my own mind. Anxiety. Drowning in the darkness, just can't see the light. Depression. Doubtful, insecure, can I really do this? Imposter syndrome. I'm alone, unloved, just feel invisible. That's loneliness. We're not therapists, but we need one.
Hello, and welcome to We're Not Therapists, but we need one.
The podcast where we have honest and vulnerable conversations about our mental health with one another.
I'm Jay,
And I'm Anthony, and neither of us are therapists.
but we're trying to help ourselves and each other by sharing our experiences and feelings.
In this show, we'll deep dive into topics like anxiety, depression.
Self-esteem, trauma, and more.
We'll talk about how they affect us
How we cope.
and what we've learned along the way,
We're not doing this to bash or blame anyone.
especially our families who may have contributed to our mental health challenges,
We're doing this to heal and grow.
and hopefully inspire others who can relate and open your mind to your own healing.
We also want to warn you that this show may contain some sensitive and triggering content.
We'll be talking about personal and painful things that happen to us and how they still affect us to this day.
If you're not comfortable with that, or if you feel like you need professional help,
This show may not be for you, but
if you're ready to join us on this journey of self-discovery and self-improvement, we're glad to have you.
we're not experts, but we're honest and we're not alone. Now, let's start the timer. Jay, how do you feel today?
Good. A little bit tired. Good. It's been a busy day. Been a busy few days, but I'm good. I think I'm all right. You?
I like your shirt.
Thanks.
Just by the way, I know we just got on here, but I like your shirt a lot. It's super cute, and I think you should know that.
Thank you. I like this shirt
You're
too.
cute. Yeah, it's adorable. I'm doing pretty well. It's not been a bad day. It was not busy at work, so I spent some time writing, and I was texting you about it because my brain was fighting me every inch of the way. And yeah, but I ended up getting some done thanks to Kevin, who emailed us and gave us some writing advice, and that was to I won't quote word for word Kevin, so don't hold me to that, but to essentially write something before you start writing to get the clutter out of your brain, which I have done before, but he mentioned doing it via blog posting, and I think maybe that might be a fun way to sort of track my progress with it as I go. But either way, I did that. I vomited 1,000 some odd words just getting my thoughts out of my brain so that I could actually focus on the writing project I was working on for our other podcast. So yeah, that was super effective, and yeah, otherwise the day has been super lazy.
It is funny to sit and write down your thoughts for a moment because you realize that you kind of ruminate thoughts really easily.
Oh my god, I know. You know, whenever I write down my thoughts that way, I tend to do it in a manner that is speaking to myself, as if I'm trying to reach this core person of who I am, to really get around all of the extraneous thoughts and feelings that were planted in there by people I grew up around. Good God.
Sorry, I have to look over my cat.
I can't tell. Is that Blanche?
That was Merle's.
Oh, Merle's.
Merlin was like, hello, and then he had to rub his face against my microphone arm.
But yeah, I feel like writing things down and talking it out with myself is a great way to get around some of the thoughts I'm thinking. It just is mildly exhausting because I feel like I have to do it often because I'm always having to talk myself down from these places that my brain takes me to.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I get that.
Yeah. And I know I've been texting you about this, but I mean, I feel like this is the appropriate place to bring it up. I've got a doctor's appointment on Thursday, and I'm going to talk to him about ADHD, because the more I think on it, the more I start thinking that maybe what I feel anxiety-wise is really just this overwhelming sense of I have to do 700 things at all times.
Mm-hmm.
So I have noticed that that may be more of a right answer for me than just anxiety. But I don't know. I guess I'll talk to my doctor about it. We'll find out.
It's funny. A few weeks ago, stopped taking my ADHD meds because I got so tired of the side effects. So I want to try something new, which annoyingly I have to wait until August 9th to see my psychiatrist. So I'm just like, all right, well, that's a period of time I'm going to have to deal with. But for a few days after getting off of it, which, keep in mind, it was not like Adderall, so it wasn't a narcotic of any form.
Yeah.
But a few days after, I really felt pretty normal. I was like, oh, this isn't too bad. And then I got one bad night of sleep, and it suddenly turned into my mind was back in chaos mode. And it's never really left it. But it's funny in this scenario now, where I'm getting more used to what I used to be used to with my chaos. But now I recognize that my... how do I explain it? My mood towards it kind of switches a little. Either it used to do this, I just didn't know it, or it's more new. But it seems like my mood is shifting a little bit more. For like a week or two, I was in this chaotic sense of kind of beating myself up, doubting myself. I really wanted to cry a lot because I just felt overwhelmed inside. And then I'd say a week before recording this, or maybe a little less, I don't know what happened, but this paradigm shift happened in my mind. And I've gone right into like confidence mode. I don't know how to explain it. I just had a meeting with my boss. I woke up, felt exactly normal that day, had a meeting with my boss, and suddenly I'm spitting out the most confidence of myself and my abilities and everything. And she's like, I'm like loving this confidence. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know where it's coming from, but let's run with it. And then ever since then, I've just been like, up here with my confidence level, and I'm liking that, but I'm so worried also that it's going to be this like crash one day where I suddenly don't have it.
Isn't that the catch-22 of getting confidence? Is you worry about yourself not being confident whenever, in fact, you are technically in control of that?
Well, because then you're suddenly like, well, what if you're being too confident? What if your confidence is coming off as arrogance? What if you're confident and you don't really think you should be confident? What if you're just being stupid?
Do you think that that's your voice speaking or somebody else's voice that has been imprinted into you?
I would definitely say that is growing up. It is my voice projecting that in my head. It is me saying it to myself, but it's all projected by what I was tapped down to do for all those years.
I hate that so much. It's so upsetting to think about all the confidence that we pull from kids who they just want to exist, and people just shit on them so much, and they take that confidence away at a young age. And I know that adults are well-meaning, and I'm not trying to bash anybody necessarily, but it's just really, it's frustrating to think about the amount of negative thoughts that I have on a day-to-day basis that aren't really mine. They've been put there by adults in my life from whenever I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I've utilized them as sort of this rule of law in myself so much that they affect me subconsciously. And now I'm having to like diffuse all of that as an adult, and it's really hard.
Which this contributes, I think, to our perfectionism in the sense that you did something well, and you were like, yeah, I know what I'm doing, and then you always had that person above you, or that guardian of some sort, basically finding all the reasons that maybe you don't know what you're doing. And I think they're trying to teach you to be able to look around just what you know and all that stuff, but it's always this whole probe of, well, you didn't do this right, well, blah blah blah. And so we've become perfectionists by trying to find every possible thing so nobody can finally come to us and say, well, you missed this. You didn't do this. Because that's always what we got. We didn't ever do well enough. And so we've become perfectionists trying to prevent that.
Yeah, I 100% do that because I get really defensive of my work, of all my work, not just at work, but of any work that I do. I get so defensive of it because if you point out something I haven't done right, I feel like a failure.
I have gone a different direction nowadays. I stopped getting defensive, and I got to the point where if you criticize it or something, I'm just not gonna fucking do it anymore. If you don't appreciate it, that's it.
So I will say I am doing better in the aspect of taking criticism about my work, and it has helped me a lot because my current boss is so helpful. He really gives me a lot of autonomy, but whenever I give him a project, he gives me feedback. And it's always like, sometimes he just says, this is great. I'm going to use this all the time. I appreciate it. This is fantastic. And sometimes it's, hey, can we adjust this? Or, hey, can we adjust that? This is working well, but we need to look at this. And I've just learned that, like, he's not trying to nitpick me as a person. He's just trying to help me get this right and make it useful for maybe something that I'm not seeing mentally. Like, he gives me the task, but maybe I'm not seeing the whole picture like he is, or maybe I'm just thinking I'm stuck in my own head about a certain thing, and I'm just, I'm the wheels are spinning, and that's all I can focus on is that one specific thing, and he helps me get out of my own brain about it. My coworker does the same, and I have done better about not getting defensive about my work. I'm not going to say I'm perfect because God no, but better, yes.
What are you talking about? I have never ever witnessed you get butthurt at all about your work.
I may have done it very publicly one time.
For those who don't, go to the Beards and Sentries and listen to episode. No, I'm kidding.
You can watch me have a mental breakdown live.
And now it's just a running joke for the rest of the show
It
for
is.
the future.
But you know what? I will say that's growth on my part because that's something that earlier in my life I would have been really offended by if people kept bringing it back up because I had a little meltdown, and I feel like that's not something you're supposed to do when you were growing up, and you can't acknowledge it, and it's not okay to bring it back up. And now that it's just a running joke, I feel like that's a good sign of growth in myself.
And it's just, I'm glad that you're able to joke with it because, like, I fully understand it, especially. Oh my gosh, especially, and I still run into this, something I would normally joke with, but if it's been an exhausting period and I'm kind of not in my best mental space, I'll take offense a little bit easier to stuff if I'm bringing up ideas and I'm like, oh, this is a good one, and then people kind of rag at it, like, I could feel the defeat a lot easier when I'm not in the proper headspace compared to other times. So I think we all have our meltdowns at different times and for different reasons. And I'm just glad that you can be like, yeah, that was a meltdown. Let's keep joking.
Yeah, it was very much a meltdown. And then I had to text you guys the next day and be like, hey, I'm sorry. I'm just feeling very sensitive right now.
I will say this, while I am pretty good at criticism and these days, and even my boss has said that. She's talked to my boss or her boss's boss and for stuff I do, and she goes, don't be afraid to criticize anything in this because it's to benefit what we're doing, and Jay takes criticism extremely well. And I'm just like,
I do.
Okay.
That's news to me.
This is what I still need to work on. I'm great at taking criticism if you deliver it a way that I'm fine with. If your criticism comes off as degrading in a way...
Ooh, yeah.
But even if it's not intending to be degrading, they're not just going, you're stupid. Like, literally, if they're just like, well, I don't really like this. You could have probably done this. Suddenly my brain's like, don't tell me what I could have done. I mean, if you ask me my opinion or something, it'd be like, what about this? Suddenly my brain's fine. There's a delivery, and so in certain scenarios I have to shut myself down from reacting because I'm like, they're not criticizing you, but it's the language of the delivery that will send me into this defensive mode.
Ugh, I know, and I will spiral with that. I will get it in my brain, and I will just run with it, and oh my god. The hyperfixation in my mind is real, which is another reason I'm going to talk with my doctor about ADHD, because I hyperfixate like it's no one. Like, I hyperfixate like it's my goddamn job. Like, people pay me to do it because I am really good at it. Not only with fixating on like negativity and things like that, because I do that a lot, but fixating on like work. I'll pick up a project and I will get projects done in great bursts of creativity, or just like sit down and nose to the grindstone. I'll procrastinate it for 8 days, then on the 9th day I'll just spend the whole day doing it.
That's my life.
And I'm exhausted of it because I have longer projects that require more than a day or two of work. They require weeks and weeks of work that has to be consistent for you to be able to accomplish them in a way that's meaningful, or at least in my head, that's how I should be doing it. So I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that too.
I, in high school and college, was that expert kid where a teacher was like, you can't do this the night before. You fucking bet I can.
Yes, I can.
I'm going to get a better grade if I do it the night before than if I spend 3 months working on this project. And even my capstone, I had due dates every quarter of that semester. And I would write each part that I needed done the night before it was due, or the night it was due, or something, because I realized in high school that every time I'm like, you're not going to do this, and I would plan it ahead of time, I'd plan it all out, I would get lower grades. But if I crunched it last minute, because I think in the stress of it, I'm like, well, this is going to look bad, so you need to make sure you step it up, and so I go above and beyond.
I feel like that is what I do as well, because I used to get in trouble all the time in high school because teachers would be like, you can't just go in, like, you need to do the homework. Because I wouldn't do the homework. The homework was just meaningless to me because I already knew the subject matter.
Yeah.
And teachers would be like, well, you can't just not do the homework because then you won't be able to pass the test. And then I would just pass the test, you know, with flying colors. And they'd be like, well, I don't understand why you don't do the homework if you know it all. I'm like, I don't know what the fucking point of the homework is if I already know it all.
Yeah. I think I remember asking that in school one time. I'm like, if I already know this, why do I have to learn it?
Yeah, seriously.
Because, and kind of think of the logic behind it. You are forcing... why was I bored all the time in school? Because I just figured stuff out quick. I knew this stuff. And so we have to slow down for others that don't learn like me, which back then I didn't understand the different learning styles. Now I'm just like, it's the same anywhere I go. If I have to sit through this slow learning process, you've lost me.
I struggle with it because I learn things very quickly, and I get bored of things very quickly, and
Yes.
It is super frustrating because there are longer term goals that I have that require me to maintain interest in things over the long term.
Yes.
And it's just, man, it's rough. It's rough when it comes to work and learning, and I guess it is easier as an adult. I didn't really get it as a kid, but it was sort of like a, you know, in school it's a one-size-fits-all solution. You all have to learn the same things all at the same time, no matter how you learn.
Yeah.
Versus as an adult, I feel like I do a lot of the learning that I do at work on my own.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you are forcing me to sit in any sort of training, especially if it's an online training, I got nothing out of it. And I'm sorry. I mean, to anyone who is a training person that way, everyone learns differently. That is not my method. And I'm glad that I'm finally figuring that stuff out now. I've learned to have the confidence to know and say that that's not the way that's going to teach me.
Yep.
You
And I
have
think
to
that's
throw me in a
important,
scenario. It's sink or swim.
I mean, it's important, though, because if you know the best way to learn for yourself, then you're going to be able to navigate those situations much easier. But it does kind of suck when you're in trainings with a group and you have to, like, slog through them. It makes me so thankful that my work department is basically myself, my coworker, and my boss.
Yeah.
Because we do training on our own. We really just kind of learn shit on our own. It's all very much like if I'm going to have to learn a new technique of some sort, or I have to learn how to utilize some formula I don't use very often, I look it up on the internet.
Yeah.
I don't need a trainer for that. I just need to have resources.
Yeah. I need you to give me an example, and then I'm done. That's 5 seconds. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We kind of discussed this in our ADHD chat earlier. But a few months ago, my company forced everyone to go through this culture training. And I'm kudos to them for trying to set a more open-minded standard within the company for everyone to understand that we all work differently. We all think differently. Awesome. It was an 8-hour ordeal from 8 to 5 with an hour lunch.
What?
And it was like a third of the company or a quarter of the company, I don't remember. And we all broke up into our segments with our teams, and we had to go through all this stuff for hours, like examples and scenarios, and it's before I got on my ADHD med, and it was the moment that I figured out I need to go see someone, because I was in this training and the amount of emotion I had in my body restrained because I felt completely chained up, trapped. I wanted to explode. I had so many moments. I just want to get up and say, I fucking can't stand this. And it's not the topic. It's the fact that I'm stuck in this area that I can't do anything. I can't be on my phone. I can't do all this stuff. I can't get out of this boredom that I'm trapped in.
So fucking real. I'm sorry. It's really, really relatable.
Yeah. It let out at 5, and then traffic was awful. And so I remember the first thing I did was I get in my car and I texted my friend who lives near downtown, and I said, "Are you home? Can I stop by?" And he goes, "Yes." And I said, "Do you have alcohol?" Because I had the largest headache, and I felt so beat up. I'm like, I just need a drink after this.
God.
And that is when I went to a psychologist, and I started feeling better in those scenarios.
I fortunately don't
Or
find myself in
psychiatrist,
those
whatever.
scenarios very often. I don't usually have to be in that type of group environment now. With my previous company, I was there frequently, and oh my god, I look back and I see these little like warning signs of things like that would make me think now, ADHD, knowing what I know now. I'm like, oh yeah, you couldn't sit through, I don't know, an hour client meeting without just being fucking like, when the fuck is this gonna be over? I wish everybody would shut up so I can leave.
Oh, God, that anger you feel when a meeting won't stop, when you're just about to explode.
Whenever it's productive and there are things happening,
I love
that
it.
are interesting, absolutely. But whenever you're just sitting there and like 2 or 3 other people are really conducting things, oh my god, I can't stand it.
When the conversation spiraled into something very, very focused on one group's work and it involves nobody else, it's just like, stop. I got to go. I mean, there's been times that I've gotten up and I've just been like, I have to go to the bathroom, and I will mosey my way to the bathroom because I'm like, I have to escape that.
You know, this also makes me think, after working 12 years in retail for the last 3 years of my career with the telecom I worked for, I was an account exec, and oh my god, I had to sit at my desk for the first time in ever, because I worked in a retail store for the longest time, and I had a desk. I just was also a manager, so like I was hardly ever at my desk unless I had to be on a conference call or something, or unless I had to do some sort of, clerical work, which wasn't nearly as often because I had assistants and they were more organized than me, and I delegated that to them because they were more organized than me, and it made sense for them to do it versus me because they were better at it. And I would have full-on panic attacks sitting at my desk. And I think about it, I'm like, maybe because I had to be sitting at a desk because I was stuck there in my little cubicle on my floor around everybody else that I worked with, and I couldn't just go anywhere, so I was stuck. So I would get up and I would walk around the building because I would have a full-blown panic attack.
Yeah.
And I would have anxiety about 100 different things because I would just stress me the fuck out. And granted, there were a lot more red flags with that job than just that. But that one, I look at it as one of the things that really drove me away from the business because I'd sit there and I would just have these full-blown anxiety attacks where I would feel like I'm going to die if I don't get up and move.
Those are back a little bit now that I'm not on any med.
Oh, I hate that.
I have a little bit of control now over it because I often just grab my laptop and be like, I'm gonna go somewhere, and so I'll just run to somebody's office that I know, and I'll have my laptop with me so I can answer any questions that may pop up. But otherwise, it's just like I can't be at my desk anymore. I feel trapped, and so I use it as a moment to go associate some with my business unit that I used to work in. So that way it's kind of my FaceTime. So they'll be like, oh, this guy works for us. And I'll be like, yeah, I represent you now through IT. So that has helped.
Do you keep your office door closed during the day?
Oh, I ain't
or do
that
you have
fancy.
a door?
I have a cubicle.
Oh, okay. So I thought you had an office because for me,
be so
it's
nice.
made a world of difference because I have an office space at my current job.
No.
And I keep that door fucking closed to the point that the manager of the plant that I work in has mentioned it several times. Not just me, but my coworker as well, because we keep our doors closed. But we don't work for that. We just happen to be officed in that building.
Yeah.
And we service all of our locations. So we're servicing the company nationwide. And we're the only two people in the whole business that do our jobs.
Yeah.
So I'm not there to socialize. I'm there to do my job. And I do have a couple of people that I like there, but I'm not there to like make friends. And so I leave my door closed a lot. And this dude, he complains about it all the time, but I'm just like, I would feel more anxiety if that door were open. When it's closed, it's my space. I'm good.
In my past positions, stuff like that, where I have been, that also caused a lot of issue because there was always so much going on around me. I was near the printer, things like that. Too chaotic. I couldn't handle it. In my new location, it's actually really quiet. And so it's quite comforting.
I like that. I mean, I leave like my Bluetooth speaker on all day, so I have something playing, but like I don't know. Cubicle would stress me out. I'm glad I have a dedicated office with a door that I can keep closed.
I would say I would love an office for the point that I would like to shut the door and play my music like that instead of having a headphone in, which honestly I could get by playing music out loud because everyone around me wears headphones. But I do it as a respect thing.
I was gonna say I wouldn't be that guy. I would feel bad about being
Yeah.
that guy if I did.
I don't know why, because you're gonna hear me all the time going out of the blue in my cubicle because like somebody will send me something funny, or I don't know, I'm distracted and I'm laughing at something or whatever.
I can laugh out. I guess, I've got my own office space, and also we work in a production plant. So like on the other side of my wall downstairs, there are like 8 full extrusion machines that are massive, that they're as big as a semi, and they're making all kinds of noise all the time. So like It's just, there's plenty of noise and things going on. There's enough activity happening at all times for me to not feel too stressed.
This new floor I'm on, so quiet. The last one I was on with another department, and they were loud, 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 loud. And that was terribly distracting for me. Even if you were in an office, you could hear them. And there was construction on the floor because they're building all new elevators in the building. And so it was just constant racket. Actually, as a matter of fact, one time a whiteboard fell off my boss's boss wall, crashed into his desk, threw his computer down, and like knocked over all of his stuff.
Oh shit.
Everyone except him, we thought nothing of it because we thought it was just construction men dropping stuff as usual. So that's how used to sound we were.
They're constructing new office outside on our floor right now, and they're redoing a couple of things. It was so loud today, and I was just like, okay, I'll turn my volume on my music up a lot more, my Bluetooth speaker, and I thought, I could bring my headphones tomorrow, but I was like, I could just turn my volume up. Nobody else is in this office with me. Fuck it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that would be nice.
Maybe I won't.
I feel like being in this company for so many years, the lack of office life is very annoying.
I do love having my own office. There are a few
But it
things
just-
I really enjoy about the company I work for, and there are several things that are frustrating as hell, but I mean, I'm still newish, so, give me time. I'll get more jaded as time goes on, I'm sure.
It wouldn't have been that long ago that I would easily be in an office, but I feel like we keep getting top heavy. That the higher we go, like the higher my pay goes, the higher I'm just like fighting to finally get an office with a window. And I'm like, how much do you people make?
Right? Oh my god. I am the only person on our floor with a window that overlooks the production floor where all those lines I was
Ooh.
talking about.
So fancy.
And we're out of time. Thank you for joining us today on our show. As you can see, therapy is not always easy, but it can be very rewarding and healing.
If you want to follow our journey and see how we progress, tune in next episode for the continuation of We're Not Therapists, but We Need One.
Join us on our socials, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, and Instagram, and email us at nopenotttherapists@gmail.com.
That's NOPENOTTHERAPISTS@gmail.com.
We would love to hear your thoughts on our journey, or any questions you have that we can help answer. Until then,
Stay safe.
mental health is a serious and important issue that affects millions of people around the world.
If you or someone you know is struggling with depression, anxiety, trauma, or have any other mental health conditions, you're not alone, and there is help available.
You don't have to suffer in silence or feel ashamed of your feelings.
There are many resources and support networks that can help you cope and heal.
Here are just a few.
The Crisis Text Line, which is a 24/7 service that connects you to trained crisis counselors who can help you with any type of emotional crisis. You can text HOME to 741-741 in the US or Canada, or 85258 in the UK, or 50808 in Ireland. You can also visit crisistextline.org for more information.
The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is a 24/7 service that provides free and confidential support for people in distress, as well as prevention and crisis resources. You can call them at 1-800-273-8255 or chat online at suicidepreventionlifeline.org.
The Headspace app, which is a meditation and mindfulness app that can help you reduce stress, improve your mood, and enhance your well-being. The app offers guided meditations, breathing exercises, sleep sounds, and other tools that can help you relax and cope with your emotions. You can download the app for free and try it for 10 days or subscribe for unlimited access to all features. You can find the app on the App Store or Google Play, or visit headspace.com for more information.
These are just some of the resources that we have found helpful, but there are many more out there that can suit your needs or preferences. The most important thing is to reach out for help when you need it, and to know that you are not alone. Mental health is not a weakness, but a strength, and taking care of it is one of the best things you can do for yourself and your loved ones. Until next time,